Hello and welcome to Econ Elastic. Now we've got a very different video for you today. It's not a theory video, it's sort of a news video. Sort of. And it's about the big C that's been around for the last 18 months. And we just want to look at some numbers and explain how we calculate.
The aim of this video is only going to be a very short one. We just want to really take opinion out of it, and we just want to actually present some actual data that you very rarely see on the news or in media in general. Just the actual data, and let the data speak for itself.
Exactly.
So as you can see on the screen, we've got the headline figures at the top. So some of these are probably a lot of the figures that you hear on a day-to-day basis if you watch the news, a lot of what media reports. So we've started at the very top just with the UK population size as at the day that we were recording this video, the 24th of July 2021. So you can see that's circa 68 million. And then below that, we've got the total number of COVID cases in the UK. So that's right up from the very first recorded case up to the cases that are being recorded today. We've got then the total COVID deaths. So that's around 130,000 people. We've got the total people that have recovered from COVID. And then obviously you've got the people who...
4.5 million nearly.
Yeah, and then you've got the people who are suffering from COVID as we speak.
Yeah.
Then just below that, we're going to look at also the figures and what the numbers say before the vaccine ever came out. Obviously, we understand that the vaccine should have some effects. It should work for a lot of people. So we just want to sort of separate that from the argument. And for that, we've used the population size in 2020, which is obviously just a bit less, just under 68 million. And then we've got the total COVID cases pre the very first dose of vaccine that was ever given out in the UK. So up until that point, we'd recorded around 1,800,000.
Yeah.
And then the total COVID deaths pre-vaccine, which is around 62,000.
Yeah.
Now, these figures don't mean a lot until you put them in relative terms. That's what we're trying to sort of get across here.
And like everything, what we do in terms of our theory videos and our other news videos that we do, this is the point. Sometimes the headline figures can be misleading if you don't look into them further.
So to that point, we've gone to the figures that actually matter. So pre-vaccine, this was before a vaccine had any help to any people in terms of survival or suffering. There was 3.56% of people who contracted the coronavirus died from the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to say anything about that. We'll just leave that number on your screen. Pre-vaccine again, the percentage of COVID deaths against the total population. So that's the 67,800,000.
Yeah.
That is 0.09% of people died in the population at that point.
So if we move on to the total figures, so this is when the first pandemic hit to now, the percentage of COVID deaths to COVID cases, so the top figures, is 2.29%. And again, 2.29% of the cases. Total figures of percentage of COVID deaths to population is 0.19%. So all of the COVID deaths only make up 0.19% of the population. And the survival percentage we've got there is 78.66%, which means that of the people who've got the virus, the total number,
or have had the virus,
78.66% has survived. Now there is...
And that's obviously skewed, isn't it?
Yeah.
By the total of ongoing cases.
Yeah, exactly.
If you go by those numbers, not that many of that million or so are actually going to die from COVID.
Yeah, exactly like Andrew said. So if you add up the 78 and the 2%, obviously you don't get 100%. The rest of that percentage comes from the ongoing cases. And yet, quite rightly, Andrew said, looking at them figures, you can pretty much calculate out of that 1 million, that 1 million is going to survive, essentially.
So now that we've covered some of those figures, some of those headline figures, and then the figures that we think matter, we're also just going to cover the sort of age ranges of people who are actually dying from the coronavirus. And for that, we've actually got another data set, which is going to be on screen now.
So we've grabbed this from the ONS. All our, obviously, as you can see throughout this video, all of our sources are on this Excel sheet. So if you
we'll put them in the description below if you want to check them out.
Yeah, please.
Them even.
Yeah, and we'd also encourage you to go and check them out. We don't want you just to take these numbers.
We don't want you to take our word for it.
No.
We don't. Just as much we don't want you to always take the people's words around you or on TV's words for it. You need to look at the data yourself and make your own conclusions.
Exactly. So what we've got is just a sort of a bit of a screen grab. We're not going to look at all the data because obviously there's months and months and months. But so we looked at the 8th of Jan to the 12th of March. So we've got, it's a good data set. It's 10 weeks. And we just want to highlight really the numbers at the bottom. So what we've done is totaled up the number of deaths within different age ranges. So if we look from 75 to 90 plus, we have on average each month around about 70% of deaths are accounted to these 4 categories. And just to highlight why that is important is because the life expectancy of males on average is 79.5. So females, it's 83.1. So they're the average age. So anyone over that is actually doing very well because technically you should be dead. It's very harsh to say, but you're living longer than your life expectancy.
If you're looking at the data anyway.
If you're looking at data, obviously we're not heartless people, but that's what the data says anyway. So we then also got another number, which is 80 to 90 plus. So we understand that the males 79 and a bit are closer to 80 than they are 75. So let's round the figure up to say life expectancy is 80 plus. So looking at them numbers, again, we've totaled them numbers at the bottom. And as a percentage of the people who are dying, you can obviously see that it's around 60%, and then it starts to drop off slightly to, around about 55, close to 50%. But that's a huge number, a huge number. 50% of people that are dying are actually at the average life expectancy age. We're not going to comment on that, but that.
And I think
the figure.
It's worth having a look at the rest of that table, isn't it? And just looking at the age ranges of people who are actually dying from this virus. So the sort of take-home message that we want to sort of for you to have from this video is look at the data yourself, and draw your own conclusions. And most of all, we also believe in it's free choice. You decide whether you want the vaccine, whether you don't want the vaccine, and that goes for everything else in life as well. You should decide. It's your own personal choice. But we hope this video was giving you a little bit of an insight into maybe what has been inflated in the news and in what you see in media. We encourage you to go away and look at the data yourself. And
also, if you've got not contrary opinions, because opinions are irrelevant, if you've got contrary facts and numbers, if you've got a data set that we've not seen, or if you've got an actual number-based argument, we'd love for you to reach out to us, because we would 100% listen, because
Because
if you-
facts don't lie, data doesn't lie.
no. So
It's crucial.
yeah, please obviously get in touch with us if you've got different data sets and different numbers. But apart from that, the numbers that we've put on here are easily accessible via the internet, reliable ONS, so Office for National Statistics. They're not dodgy Wikipedia pages. They're legitimate sources. So please go and check them out and do the calculations yourself, and get an Excel sheet and approach anything when, if it's economics, going back to our channel, then open an Excel sheet, get some numbers and do some
and actually do the calculations yourself.
And you'll be astonished of what you can actually see. So
reveals a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So thanks for watching. We hope you have a good rest of your weekend, and over and out.